This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Markets have existed for as long as humans have engaged in trade. The earliest bazaars were believed to have originated in Persia, from where they spread to the rest of the Middle East and Europe. Documentary sources suggest that zoning policies confined trading to particular parts of the cities from around 3000 BCE, creating the conditions necessary for the emergence of a bazaar. What happens when the marketplace meets the internet? Two things. Number one, I read to you from Wikipedia about the history of the marketplace. And two, eBay, baby. I'm Jamie Alcroft, here with Danny Mann and eBay merchants Christian Skelly and Bob Bastenchury. Now, please enjoy this delicate toss to our host, Louise Palenker. Hooeezy!
Thank you, Jamie. That was infotaining. Yes, we are going beyond and behind the eBay storefront with laminated backstage passes to an eBay backstage extravaganza.
Yay!
I'm with the brand, or maybe the off-brand, depending on what's for sale. Christian Skelly is here with us, along with Bob Bastenchury, who just spilled water all over everything. And I believe one of our technicians has run for a towel.
Splash.
This is why...
It's turned into Sea Hunt.
So we're here with Christian Skelly and Bob Bastenchury, and both are eBay merchants. When you meet someone at a party, how would you describe what you do? Do you say, I'm an online merchant, I'm a fulfillment specialist, I'm a storefront manager? What do you call yourself, Christian?
You know, I finally came up with that answer a few weeks ago, in fact, because people would, what do you do? You know, because it's LA and everybody asks that. I'm
Sure.
like, what do I do? Ugh. So the fancy way, as I say it, is like, I'm an antiques dealer.
Ooh.
Oh.
And people like get that right away. They're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And they're like, so what sort of antiques do you sell? I'm like, that's the fancy way of answering that question. The unfancy way is I just sell stuff on eBay all day. Yeah. And then they start asking, well, what sort of stuff do you sell? And then I get into it. That is if they're not bored already.
If they're hanging in there, then you get into some specifics. What were you going to ask, Jamie?
Yeah, I was going to ask if he had a screenplay.
He has an antique screenplay.
Right.
Let's start with going to eBay itself. The front page of eBay currently looks thus. It's very inviting. There's a girl sitting on the floor, even though she has a bed. And there she is. She's like, I wonder if I should sit on the bed. Nah, this looks more cool. And then you can scroll down and see different types of things that hopefully are eye-grabbing. And it's like, yes, I need an Adidas backpack immediately. Rubber boots. How did you know, eBay?
Just one rubber boot.
Just one.
Yeah.
You only get the one
They're
boot.
trending. Rubber boots are trending.
And you can pay with the credit or with PayPal and buy sunglasses and covers for your iPhone and a fish on a wall. And I would like to give you this eBay history lesson. And please curl up with a nice, warm, cozy beverage because it's a wonderful story.
Or a rubber boot.
Initially called Auction Web, eBay was founded in California on September 3rd, 1995 by French-born Iranian-American and computer programmer Pierre Omidyar. As part of a larger personal site. One of the first items sold on Auction Web was a broken laser pointer, which went for $14.83. Astounded and confused, Pierre contacted the winning bidder to ask if he understood that the laser pointer was broken. In his responding email, the buyer explained, I collect broken laser pointers. That is when Pierre put all of my cooking appliances up for sale on eBay. In essence, what he identified in human nature is an adage as old as the first Persian marketplace. One man's trash is another man's broken laser pointer. And now, Christian, you create storefronts for your customers. And so you sit with them and you say, all right, so you've got stuff that you would like for me to continuously sell online. You're going to keep finding stuff and we're going to keep selling. So how do you then create that customized storefront?
There is a storefront function on eBay that you can sort of market yourself, set yourself apart from other sellers. Oddly enough, I don't use that.
What?
Is it a template?
I know. It's like a template. It's like you can sort of design. I've literally never gotten into that because my personal philosophy is to keep it simple. I don't. If as a buyer, when I buy and I look at somebody's storefront and they have all these like graphics around there and like other links, and I'm like, just tell me what I'm buying.
You don't
know?
need the girl sitting next to the bed.
I don't need the girl sitting next to the bed.
Okay.
I don't need some border with butterflies around. I don't need to set myself apart because I want the focus, and this is my humble opinion, I want the focus to be on the object that I'm selling. So what I do instead is I brand my different eBay stores, my different eBay accounts, I should say. Instead of branding a store under one username, if that makes sense.
Okay, so by way of full disclosure, Christian is my fulfillment guy, and he's the reason why if you go to Family Band, the movie that I made, if you go to Family Band on Amazon, it will say only one left. Is that a technique that Amazon uses to make people think like they have to buy it because there's just the one?
Yes, that's Amazon's dirty trick, yeah. Because I have over 80 still in right now.
Because I'm thinking, like, have you seen Christian's living room? Because there's more than one.
There's definitely more than one.
There's a lot of cardboard. And then let's see how it looks on Amazon and on, at least for Family Band, for example. So I never have to worry about people ordering it because Christian is, so what's the chain of command? So someone clicks on this. So we did the eBay version of it so that people overseas could buy it, people at other countries could buy it, because everyone gets a different Amazon in different countries?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
It's only available on Amazon in the U.S. I don't sell in any other countries on Amazon.
So let's say someone clicks on the link, then what happens? How are you alerted, and how do they get their DVD?
I just get an email saying, hey, you sold something, and it's a Family Band. So I log into my Amazon account, and it's a whole dashboard system, and I get a list of all my orders. I can print out the packing slip. Then I go wrap it up, and then I print out a shipping label, and I send it to the people, and they're happy.
Oh, too much work.
It's
You have bubble wrap,
easy.
don't
Too
you?
much work. Yeah.
No, well, not for the DVD. No,
No, he has bubble wrap just for fun, just to amuse himself.
Nowadays,
at home
I just
at night.
throw it into an envelope and send it on its way. Yeah,
Just the bubble wrap, nothing.
Just the
People are
bubble
just like,
wrap.
You can order bubble
It's a
wrap.
good day. I got some bubble wrap. All right. So how often will you go down to the post office, or like what's your kind of like weekly schedule?
I fulfill all my orders, Family Band and otherwise, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And these days, I have the post office come to me, pick up my bags full of packages, my bins full of packages, and they take it away. I don't go to the post office anymore. I used to in the beginning. Yeah, that was a hassle. But no, not anymore.
And then you sleep well knowing that people will be enjoying their purchases.
I sleep like a baby.
like a baby.
What changed it? That they come to you?
Yeah, how'd you do that?
The post office comes to me. It's their service. They don't mind doing that, especially for businesses. If you're like at an apartment, you got to go. They won't come to you.
Why not UPS?
They're expensive.
More expensive than the post office.
Especially for like a DVD. Yeah. If I have a really big object that I've sold and it's really expensive, maybe really fragile, then I rely on UPS. Yeah.
Here's a deadly tidbit about UPS. Every package they process has to be able to withstand a 3-foot drop to a concrete floor 3 times. That is a fact.
I hope they don't drop
That's
my
the
packages
test.
like that.
That is a fact. So you got to pack it because
So how is that veracity tested?
Yeah.
Well, people get their product and it's broken or cracked, and then they get back to their seller and they say, "Hey, I opened my box. It's in 7 different pieces."
I only dropped it twice on the floor.
Or maybe it was dropped from 4 feet.
Yeah.
It's run by the gorilla that used to do the Samsonite commercials.
Yeah, perhaps.
All right, so in other eBay stores that Christian manages, we have Outbound Books. So we're gonna show that link and tell us a little bit about Outbound Books.
Outbound Books is my very first eBay store. And I just when I originally started selling stuff, I only sold books. That was my jam. And I don't know if you want to get into that boring story, how I sold books. I read a lot. That's long story short. And then I started selling more and more on eBay. I called it Outbound Books. It had a good ring to it. And so that store now is only media, except for Family Band. That's a whole different story. But it's only books, vinyl, DVDs, CDs, laser discs every once in a while.
Any broken laser discs? Because there's a guy who Likes broken things with laser in the title.
He wants to branch out.
So that's just media as Outbound Books. Yeah.
Okay, so where do you find the books? It's just like, I read this book, but let me go ahead and sell it.
Well, that's also a big question of where I find the stuff. And originally, I would go to garage sales and just say, "Hey, I'll buy all your books," and then they would bow down. They would say, "Thank you, take all my books," and then I would just go home and sell them. But now they usually come in with other estates that we bring in, and we take their books as well.
So the beauty of it all is that the internet is helping everything find a wanted home.
It is, and it actually makes me feel good because there are some things that are so special, even books, where it's like such a random like piece of ephemera or like a strange publication that's only specific to 3M in the 1960s or something. And I'm like, this is so special, I don't want to throw it away. But if I post it on there, that person finds it. They're like, I collect vintage 3M ephemera, and it sells for a lot, not all the time,
right.
but like you said, it finds its home, and that it kind of does feels good.
But
That is amazing.
in the book collector category, didn't you find it maddening that some of your buyers would get the book and say, "Hey, this has got 3 dog-eared corners. It didn't show that in your picture."
Well, that comes to my explanation though. In there, I say it could show where
Gently used.
gently used,
Previously enjoyed.
the previously enjoyed, or age and wear, or no, it's wear consistent with age and use.
That sounds like
Very
me.
good. Boy, you can get away with
You
anything.
should work for the government.
You can. It's
Yeah.
sort of standard auction verbiage. Sort of. It's like
I sent you the ashes. The book caught on fire.
Right.
But
All right, we're
here's
going to
the
look at
ashes.
one more Christian storefront before we get to Bob. Then we have Preston and Company. Who is
Yeah.
Preston and who is Company?
So Preston and Company is Jason Preston. He's,
Okay.
he's actually an appraiser on Antiques Roadshow. And he used to give me books back when I was selling it by myself. He would just load me with books. And so finally we're like, we should just merge. And so essentially we did. And so I sell not only books for him, but I sell all his stuff, everything else in between.
But his stuff is from famous people's estates.
Yes. And or rich people's estates.
So Frank Sinatra walked through a room in which that belt was hanging.
No. So we have different estates. For example, we only have a few things left of Frank Sinatra Jr. Nancy Sinatra Sr. recently passed away a few months ago at 101.
Yeah.
That was Frank Sinatra, his
wife.
first wife.
Oh, I've read all the books. I am
Nice.
up to speed on The Voice.
Nice. So Jason Preston was asked to first appraise her estate. And so that's what he does. That's his main thing. So he will go through for insurance and estate tax reasons and say this is worth this much, this art's worth that much, that vase is worth that much, et cetera, et cetera. And then he finishes that. And then a lot of times that estate will turn around and say, "No, can you sell all of our stuff?" And he says, "Sure." And so we pack up a house. He sends it to me, and then I start listing it one piece at a time.
So what did you get from Mrs. Sinatra's house that we would want to know about?
Well, actually, and this is probably actually not going to go on eBay. This will go to an auction house, which is a whole different animal. But I was going through her CD collection, right? Just taking pictures of it, doot and doo-doo. I turned it over, and there was some writing on it, and it said Nancy. It had an arrow to the circle of the back of a CD. It was a Frank Sinatra CD, and it was a circle of one of the tracks. And it was a Frank Sinatra song. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it is. And then he signed it Frank. It was literally signed to his ex-wife
autographed
by Frank Sinatra.
A CD to his wife.
And it's actually going to be worth probably hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you find a Frank
it's-
Sinatra signature.
It's nice that he knew her name still.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Preston and Company, and what it says on the site is Preston and Company specializes in high-end luxury goods and items from notable estates. So is he the first person called sometimes when a estate is ready to come up for sale? Is that someone that they know about?
Oftentimes, yeah.
Right. So it's cool. So you get to be the first person maybe to go in when a house is being sold or when someone has passed away.
And get to go through all their stuff.
How much do you pocket?
What do you mean? Like
I don't
I
know.
want this cup
like
from
a little
this estate.
Fabergé egg, something.
No, I haven't pocketed
You're
any
very
Fabergés.
honest.
He seems nicer than that.
No,
I'm
I know.
way nicer than that.
So let's get to Bob. Bob, what do you sell online?
I, as a freelance lunatic and entrepreneur, sell lots of, let's say, recreational and sporting goods equipment because we have a nation of exercise enthusiasts and outdoor recreational fanatics who use their items 1 or 2 times, pay through the nose for it, and then they give it to me to resell. Thank
Right.
you. Thank you very much.
Nice niche. Good
Because
job.
they don't need a place to hang their coat.
Well, if you notice, the average exercise bike in a garage is a clothing hanger.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
It's got 50,
interesting.
And a
50
good one.
miles
I
on
think-
it. It costs $1,500.
Yeah.
Bob's price, $10. Get it out of here.
I mean, that kind of speaks to our optimism in a way.
That's right.
And or then it speaks to our lack of follow through.
A little of both. It's a pathological personality disorder, as far as I can tell, from which I profit from quite easily.
So in its lifetime, how often is a rowing machine sold?
I would guess there are stores that resell sporting goods like Play It Again Sports. They're a chain from, from Cape Cod to San Jose to L.A. to Albuquerque. And they resell those a lot. They would probably have that number. It all depends on your proximity to a lake where rowing is something that you would do, but not all year long. We'll say when the lake is frozen. Those people are your rowers. The best sale on resale of skates, for example, Cape Cod. They've got a resale shop there for skates that looks like the National Hockey League runs it.
Well, skates are interesting because those are something that kids are going to keep outgrowing, so they should go on to the next person.
And they're expensive.
Ice skates,
Very
yeah.
expensive.
His
Crazy.
wife is a very
My
famous
wife just bought
ice skating
a
choreographer.
pair of skates. I think it was $1,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about how eBay works and a little of that kind of stuff because I find it interesting that there's a gamification of a lot of websites and a lot of our participation in websites is sort of we're trying to get a high score, so it's kind of more fun if you can earn prizes and badges and maybe things that spin and blink. So if you look at the Outward Books storefront, it has a score of 2119 and it has a 100% positive feedback. But then if you look at Preston and Company, it has a score of 1039 and a 99.5% positive feedback. So I'm wondering what the hell went wrong here, and if there's something that the vendor, can do to sort of rectify like one disgruntled individual.
Yeah, the whole feedback system, it kind of drives me crazy because people want it. They want to get feedback just for being a good buyer. I guess we want good feedback for being a good seller. I mean, it is important to some extent. It is frustrating because why don't I have 100% on Jason or on Preston and Company? I have no idea because I haven't gone through. I should have done my research beforehand and said who is ruining my feedback score, and then I can, if I really wanted to, I could contact eBay and say, hey, take that off, that negative feedback off, or I could contact that person and say, you're ridiculous. Could you please take that off or whatnot? But
I just think it would make a fun story because actually those scores are like pristine and there's going to be some kind of anomaly in all of human life. Right?
yeah, like
I can offer some insight into that problem.
Yeah.
One of the things eBay does is when a buyer buys an item, they may or may not put any feedback. If it's neutral, eBay counts it as a negative,
Seriously?
defying the laws of common sense.
That's a lot of pressure.
And
to
I had a
take
friend
part.
who's a power eBay seller said, are you insane? A lot of people get busy, bump, 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 and I'm getting a negative because they forgot to put anything in there. Ooh, it gets really radical. eBay came up with all these rules. Like you said, it drives you crazy. Why do I have this feedback? Because of all these rules. For example, if you sell something locally, pickup only, eBay says, well, you don't have any proof that you actually delivered that item. Well, they came and picked it up, or I brought it to them directly. Yeah, but we need proof that your customer actually got the item. So to circumvent this bogus rule, friend of mine sends a certified letter to the person who's buying the object. So then they give that code to eBay to get them off their back for, again, counting it as a negative. So then, why do I have a 95? All my customers are happy.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Ooh.
But for the most part, do you feel like it's a good way for us to be able to trust each other, to have some sort of ranking associated with buyers and sellers?
There is, because sometimes I have like somebody's like bidding or like emailing me saying, oh, I really like this, blah, blah, blah. And then I go in, and I look to the fact that they just opened an eBay account. They have no feedback, meaning they haven't bought or sold anything, but they're really interested in this $500 piece of jewelry.
Ooh.
And they're in China. Like, it just rubs me the wrong. I'm like, no, I'm not even going to deal with you. You're a scam.
Right.
Or, some other country. It doesn't have to be China, but I'm just like, nope, I'm not going to deal with you because you have no feedback. But
Right.
if they had a feedback of maybe 500 or whatnot, and,
But
okay, then
start
I can
slow,
deal with you.
buy a laser pointer.
Buy a laser pointer.
Yeah,
Make it
so-
broken.
So Danny, you're an eBay purchaser.
I have.
What do you
participated.
collect? What do you look for when you go online looking around?
I'm not a big time one, but I think my initial interest it was stuff that I missed from childhood that I didn't have anymore.
Right.
Like mommy, daddy.
Yeah,
That kind of thing?
I found one of my parents on
Mommy,
eBay
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
and gave good feedback.
Good.
I'm a big hockey fan. I'm a rock and roll fan, so it's Beatles stuff, hockey stuff, cards.
Was there? Let's go around the table with this one. What was the first thing you Googled when Googling became a thing one could do? Because we don't.
That was
didn't we
ages
all-
ago.
Didn't we all Google something from our childhood that we thought was gone forever, and we wanted to see whether or not it still exists?
Probably that's
My integrity.
Your integrity,
No, I Googled myself. First thing I Googled.
like a true show business professional.
That's right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I as well. I Googled my last name
Yep.
and found out my great-grandfather was the father of Fullerton, a Basque shepherd who came here and had 4 sons and established the largest citrus ranch in the world. And my name's on street signs that run through 3 cities. And now everybody thinks I own the Chevron station, the park, the medical center. It's fabulous because when they do searches on me, they get every business that has my name on it because it's on the street. So people all over the world think I'm a billionaire. It's fabulous.
That's a lot of information off of one Google search.
Yeah, really.
It's a great
Congratulations.
Google
It's
search.
quite
Yeah,
extensive because
You got
every business on Baston Shirley Road through Placentia, Yorba Linda, and Fullerton has my name on it. And they go, my God, this guy's worth a fortune.
Yes.
Gas station.
He's like Mulholland.
You own a park? Well, for the people. I put one up for the people.
Own a park and some used exercise equipment,
Oh, my.
which you will sell.
and a pointer.
Yeah.
Bingo.
What did you Google?
That's a good question. I don't remember. It was probably something to do with hockey,
Hockey.
the Beatles, but I also Googled myself, and online my birth date and my place of birth are wrong on every website. And
That's great.
One of my goals is to change it before I die.
Or are you wrong and the internet is correct?
Dun, dun, dun.
Wait a minute. You mean I wasn't born in the wagon of a traveling show?
But you were, Danny.
No, you just look like you were.
Does anyone use any other marketplaces aside from eBay? Does anyone use the Facebook marketplace, which I now see in my Facebook feed? Lane?
I just moved, and we've been using OfferUp a lot.
Oh, what's it called?
OfferUp.
Offer
OfferUp. Okay.
Yeah, it's very similar to eBay.
All the kids
But
are
it's
using that.
more. Yeah, it's kind of like for
More futons.
yeah, it's like
less-
furniture. A
less
lot of people get
treadmills.
furniture, and
Fewer pointers.
but there's everything on there. It's,
There's
More
a little-
cinder block
It's also-
coffee
yeah,
tables.
it's basically a better version of the Facebook Marketplace. 'Cause
Okay.
the Facebook Marketplace is terrible.
And
Well-
you use a few others, right, Christian?
I have. I used Reverb at one point.
To sell some audio equipment?
I sold Frank Sinatra's fancy microphones, Frank Sinatra Jr.'s microphones on there.
All right, so Frank Sinatra Jr., how many fancy microphones did he have?
He had many. Yeah, he had dozens, in fact.
So was he a collector, or that was just part of being Frank Sinatra Jr.? He inherited some of them?
I think all of the above, and he was on tour. When he passed away.
and every
too,
gig
so,
he did, he stole a microphone.
like who wouldn't?
Yeah.
We all
I'll
collect
be,
different
I'll be
things.
stealing
Who
this
doesn't?
microphone.
Not Sully, the name.
These are nailed
of Frank
down by
Sinatra Jr. After Frank Sinatra Jr. died, somehow in my brain, I always imagined that his son's name was Frank Sinatra Jr. Jr. And I don't know why that makes me laugh, because he had tragically passed away at a fairly young age.
Does he have sons?
But if he had, he should have named his son Frank Sinatra Jr.
Jr.
Okay, because let me just get this off my chest.
Uh-oh.
If you're Frank Sinatra, do not freaking name your child Frank Sinatra
Right.
Jr. Give him half a chance, please.
Why do people come up with these great suggestions later?
I know.
Probably why he was kidnapped.
It's only
think?
Remember that?
logic.
Yes.
You can't name your kid Donald Trump Jr. It should be illegal.
No,
It's
that
not an
definitely
okay.
should be
It's
illegal.
child abuse.
Yeah. That
It's
is.
hard enough to be Eric. Anyway, all right, I'm done with that thought.
Wow.
Which is obvious. Only Eric has proven.
My
That
point
is
is,
hard
if you're
enough
if you're
to be Eric.
extremely famous, give your kid his own name.
True.
Yeah.
Give him an
Please,
identity.
God.
Yeah.
There's no God Jr.
Now,
There is.
let me
It's
ask you a
Jesus.
question, Christian.
Yes.
Can I ask about this the book site?
Yeah.
Now, I have a book that's available on Amazon.
Okay.
What differentiates people going to just the name of my book on Amazon and buying it, as opposed to buying it in your collection?
Is your book a print-on-demand sort of
It's
vanity book, if you will?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, ebook and
So
print. I have ebook and
I'm
print.
selling used books. I'm not selling anything new aside from Family Band, the Cowsill story, directed by Louise. That's the only
so
new
the
thing
physical. You actually find these physical books,
Right. And the only time I'll sell it new is if I get it from that person and they haven't opened it
Wow.
yet.
So if someone says to you, "Hey, Christian, I'm looking for this rare book. It's no longer in print. I'm looking for Fred Astaire, Steps in Time. It's last printed in 1967 or whatever." You'll find it.
No.
Oh, okay.
no, why
So if
bother?
you just-
I mean, if it's in my inventory, I'll be like,
right, but
well,
you
step
don't
right
you
up.
don't help people find books that are out of print. You just sell what you get in the States.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
They have to do a search and find it on his site. I knew a guy that was selling first editions because they're a commodity that gains in value.
Oh, I
But
know.
the book
yeah.
buyers were so persnickety, it drove him nuts.
Yeah.
They ask you questions about dogleaf deers and what's the condition, and drove
Hey,
him
when
nuts. So
you're-
what his secret weapon was, he only bought mint books. So when they said, "What's the condition?" because he got tired of all the emails, he'd just write MINT mint send.
Okay.
That's
The
one way of
Altoid
doing
story.
it. That's one way of doing it.
Bingo.
All right, we're going to break for a commercial, and then we're going to come back and talk about more exciting things. Like Christians frequently ask questions when people find out that he sells things on eBay.
I've already got a couple.
I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros podcast.
Each week, we give a comedically informative take on movies,
Music,
television,
video games.
and much more.
Put your shades on and listen to all episodes on supermediabrospodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah,
Shades on.
we're off.
I do so desperately want to hang out with those guys.
Oh,
They seem
hang out with the
super-
bros.
Yeah.
They're super fun. All right, so Christian, you're at a function. Let's call it a barbecue and or
Sure.
picnic.
Love it.
And somebody says, "What do you do?" And you say, "I'm a manager, and I also sell things on eBay." Then they say, "Go ahead, Danny. What's a question that they would ask him?"
Do you sell old hockey stuff?
If it came my way, I would definitely try to sell
In
it.
the Gordie Howe Jr. estate, he would sell it. So people tend to ask Christian, "What should I sell?"
Yeah.
And what do they mean? Because how are you supposed to know what they have?
Well, people are like, "Oh, I want to make some extra money. I want to sell stuff on eBay. It sounds like you're going to make a lot of money. And so what should I sell?" And I say, sell what you love and or sell what you buy. So I was a big book reader, and so it just seems so great to be surrounded by books and to sell books and to pass them on. And I love books. I love everything about them. So that's why I started that way, and I became successful selling only books.
See, that's interesting because I thought you were going to say sell your crap that you hate and you want gone, but you said sell what you would like to buy because obviously it would sell to you.
Right.
So,
So
and it's
you
like
already know
you
about
recommend music that you like, not music that you hate and want to get
Right.
rid of.
it. So, for example, like there are some people, they love vintage clothes. They love wearing it. They love buying it. And I have run into sellers who make their store is all about vintage clothes. So they'll go to garage sales and look for those vintage clothes and then bring them home, clean them up, and then sell them, and they make money. If I sold just vintage clothes, I wouldn't make a dime because I could give a toss about vintage clothes.
Right. So if you sell what you love, then it's something that you know a ton about too.
Exactly.
So
And
it
you
makes
enjoy collecting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it makes you
enjoy
kind of
it.
an expert, and then
Right.
it's more joyful to share it with people.
Because there's more enthusiasm, so you're driven to
Yeah,
sell
because
it.
I'm also a collector of books, so I know what a collector wants. I know, like I do need to tell a person about this dog ear because it's a $2,800 book, so they need to know every specific on that. For example,
What do you if people have great stuff or think they have a lot of great stuff but don't have the time or interest to do what you do, to go online and list each one? What do you tell people like that?
find somebody to do it for you.
There
Yeah.
you
Like
go.
Christian.
That's what I
Like
did.
me.
The
Just
seller
like you.
assist program on eBay. You can find a seller to sell your stuff because I don't have the patience for all
Okay,
that back and
explain the seller assist program.
eBay has a list of sellers who are signed on with them that will sell your stuff for you for a percentage, and you don't have to ship it. You don't have to do anything. You just give it to them. They photograph it. They write the ad. They post it. Bing, bing, bing. I've been through a few sellers because some of them were stockpiling my merchandise in their closet and not getting it up online. At which point I became frustrated and said, I'm just going to put this on Craigslist. In which case, some hot items got calls from around the country, like a pair of Leica binoculars. They retail for $2,000. I pick it up in a box full of stuff at a police auction, and I look at the $950 eBay price, and I say to myself, who wants a pair of Leica binoculars? I find out it's bird watchers.
Oh.
Have you ever met any bird watchers?
I have.
They're a wacky bunch.
Have you ever eaten a meal with a bird
I
watcher?
have.
Oriole.
Picky. Do I want to deal with a bird watcher who's going to get those Leica binoculars? Well, wait a minute. There's a little smudge here on the lens that I didn't see in your pic. I don't know if I want. Do I want to deal with that? No. So when they start calling me from around the country, Boston, Montreal, San Jose, Asian guy in San Jose, you got any relatives here in Orange County? My cousin, he lives in Anaheim. Yeah. Bring him over. I'll sell it to you for $650, $300 off eBay. Why? Because I want to hand it to him. I want him to look at it. I want him to hand me the cash, and I want him to walk away. Friends of mine said, you just blew off $300. You could have sold it on eBay. I go, yeah, but I sold it in 1/5 the time. I took that $650 and flipped it 3 times while waiting for eBay. Do I sound bitter? I don't mean that.
No,
in a
you sound
bitter,
like Jack
negative way.
Nicholson.
No, that sounds great. You do a great Nicholson.
It sounds.
Don't want to wait for the bird.
All right. So, what type of collector is the most finicky or the most particular about the items that they receive?
Everything really could be from jewelry to clothes to high-end dishes to silver. I mean, especially the high-end stuff. I mean, I sold a cup and there was a really small little crack in it. I missed it. And I can't serve coffee out of this. So
This'll never
she had to
work.
return. And it's
So
like
what
it's just a little.
happens?
So she returned it, and I had to give her money back.
But then, did you sell it and say, gently nod?
I will. I will. I will sell it with. I will sell it with a crack.
If you
in
say
it.
Kamala Harris nibbled right here, then you could sell that mug for more.
No, that's
sure.
GG.
Depends on,
That's gently nod.
This chip is in the shape of Justin Bieber, because those are the things that when people are, oh really?
Like people selling Cheetos in the
Those go
form
on
of
Etsy.
yeah.
Have you guys heard of Etsy?
Yeah,
That's
Etsy
another-
is more like
Etsy.
crafty,
Ooh.
right?
Oh,
It started out as that, and now it's sort of kind of everything. It seems
really?
like.
Yeah,
but,
they
Yeah,
brought
my
down.
brother got rid of a bunch of stuff, and I'd never heard of the website, and he found it and was getting rid of stuff that was
Yeah.
trying to downsize.
A lot of high-end artsy stuff on Etsy. I try and work into the conversation with a potential buyer if there were issues with toilet training as a child. This is a dead giveaway that any kind of anal retentive pattern, I try and stay away from. It's absolutely
So for
maddening.
clients wearing diapers, that's a no?
Oh my God!
Well, that depends.
We're doing a live chat on Facebook, and we go back. Excuse me, I was just curious what you're wearing.
Lumpy pants.
Lumpy. Why are they lumpy?
How much money does it cost to sell things? That's another question that you often get.
Right.
Are you okay, Dina?
boy.
You're going to be okay?
Yeah, the fulfillment.
That one tickled
fulfillment
her.
hangs me up. I imagine that must be just a pain
Well,
in the neck.
eBay, especially, well, eBay and Amazon, they will nickel and dime a seller. It's upwards on eBay, including PayPal fees and eBay fees, around 13% per sale. Now they have like selling a book is X amount of fees compared to selling an autograph, compared to selling dishes, it's compared to selling a car. So the fees differ, but it averages around 13% that it's going to go out the window.
So they're making that money off of every sale.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
Whereas Craigslist is free.
Right, where Craigslist, I think even OfferUp is there's no fees, right? The Facebook Marketplace, there's no fees. But then you're looking at, well, how many eyes are on OfferUp compared to eBay? And, how fast do I want to sell it? Like, if it's a couch, I'm not going to sell a couch necessarily on eBay. OfferUp is really good, So
Does Craigslist still have that what if an axe murderer shows up factor?
I don't
there some
know.
danger attached to Craigslist
Well, that's
for a
because
while?
people are using Craigslist for dating.
Oh,
yeah.
So there's a different risk factor.
Really?
Right.
gently used.
It's like
dates.
you're not coming over to take my couch and leave. You're coming over to take my life and leave. Different transaction.
Some local police departments have a parking space where you can come and do your Craigslist sale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Really? In some
I had an
communities
old
do that,
gentleman
yeah.
call me up because he wanted to buy a slide projector, and I could tell he was elderly, and I said, well, now listen, he was insecure. Now, if I buy this, how do I know? You get to plug it in and use it before you buy it. Way better than eBay.
Mm-hmm.
You get to find out if it works to your approval before you. Well, that's great. And then he says the fatal words, whenever I hear this from a potential buyer, and sadly I've heard it many times, well, let me talk to my wife. When it goes to conference, you're screwed. Nothing's going to happen. No, we're not doing anything on Craigslist. Would you like to meet me at the police department? There'll be an officer there with a drawn pistol. No, I don't know if I should do this. I'm going, good luck to you, and my regards to your warden. I mean, wife.
Well, they say a camel is a horse designed by committee. So
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
So
I like
let's
that.
talk about auction versus pay this price. What's it called?
Hey, buy it now.
Buy it now. Yeah. So at the beginning, eBay was all auction,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then everybody's blood pressure was like, because they had to just keep refreshing the page and panic set in. And
there were software programs you could get to get your offer in 50 cents over
Yep,
the
you could
previous
select
that's what
buyer.
I was doing the auctions, and I found it exciting. I think part of the fun of it was the excitement.
bidding.
Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot of people did find it really fun. It was kind of like going into battle and coming home victorious with a toaster.
Yes.
But
Until they found out they were being nixed in the last 30 seconds by somebody who had a
Some program.
program that's going to put it in there faster than a human
And
finger
still
can
happens.
press the
I
button.
learned after doing it a
Really?
couple of times, and I learned that there were strategies that they advertise what they are, but it's
So are the auctions still a thing, or is it all buy it now?
It's kind of 50-50. When I come across an object that I have it's really unique, I can't find it sold anywhere at any time. It's, something that's, I don't know what it is maybe. So I just put it up for auction. I say, I want $50 for this, but I have no idea what it is, but somebody out there might. And then all of a sudden it might sell for $600. I did that for autographs. We have this whole autograph collection. And instead of literally thousands of autographs, instead of looking to see how much each celebrity is, I just said, a index card is just starting bid $20. I don't care what celebrity it is. So some I don't sell at $20. I started John Wayne, for example,
Right.
at $20 bid, and it sold for over $600. Whereas,
because,
like,
like,
if I just put it on for buy it now, I could see what the comps are out there that he sells for a lot. But we'll see what the auction does.
So you just sold John Wayne, or did you sell a packet of autographs?
Nope, just one John Wayne autograph.
So you just like let the market decide what John
Yeah.
Wayne's scribblings are worth. Okay.
Totally. Mhm.
And that's kind of exciting too,
It
right?
is,
Because
yeah.
it's like you can't really do the comps in that neighborhood because we don't really know whether or not John Wayne actually wrote this, but if someone wants to believe that he did, and he probably did.
Oh, as far as the authenticity
Yeah.
I'm not an authenticator.
Right.
So I mean,
But if it comes from Frank Sinatra Jr.'s estate, it's probably John Wayne's autograph.
right. And the estate, it wasn't from his estate, but the estate that it did come from, we truly believe that this autograph collector was buying authentic things to
Can I ask you a question? What do appraisers, what kind of money does an appraiser make? The people that go in and look at an estate and come up with ideas and tell people?
They can make kind of what a lawyer makes, actually.
It's an hourly thing?
It's an hourly thing.
And it's up in the hundreds?
Yeah.
So if you hem and haw a lot, you can make a fortune.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean,
The problem with
they're a little more honest than lawyers.
Let me ask my wife.
The problem with appraisers when you get into art is there's this liability issue for high-ticket items where if a person buys it and a lot of money exchanges hands, it goes back on the appraiser as well. So some appraisers have pulled back on this, especially on the high-end art. Yeah, we certified this Van Gogh is worth about this much. Oh, so it is a Van Gogh. Yeah. Boom. It's a fraud. Boom. It goes back on the appraiser as well as the seller.
But it's an
So
authentic
everyone's
fraud.
reputation is on the line there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have a little fun with eBay community. Do you guys frequent the eBay community?
Every once in a while.
Every once in a
I
while?
use it as a marketing tool about 20 times a day.
Oh,
I
interesting.
go on my iPhone. You get an eBay app.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge marketing tool. You want to find out what the going rate is on an item. You open your eBay your app.
Mm-hmm.
You go and put your search engine for the item you're looking at, and you go into filter, and you click on the filter, and you say, I want to see what sales were completed or sold. And there you see your item and what it's going for on eBay.
Wow.
Boom. There's your bombshell tip, folks. Walk into your garage, look at your item you want to get rid of.
Yep, that's...
And sadly, you go to many garage sales these days, and the first words out of their mouth, you're going to sell that old toaster for $80? It's going for $79 on eBay. I just looked it up. Well, that's because you're going to box it, ship it, and wait for 10 days for the sale to go through. And if there's anything wrong with that toaster, it's coming back, buddy. Now, what's it selling for? Now.
Wow.
I don't mean that in a bitter, negative way.
You drive a
of course
sarcastic
not.
bargain.
He does.
It's maddening. Why don't you just go put it on eBay? Why did you drag it out here in your driveway?
Really?
Are these really the questions you want to ask me?
All right, so we're going to have a little bit of fun with eBay community. I took a visit. It's pretty fun. Jamie, you will be playing the role of Mel C. H. 67, and I guess Danny's going to be playing the role of CLT DocMed. Let's see. Please turn off your cell phones and refrain from unwrapping candies and enjoy this performance of eBay Community Theater.
Well,
Curtain up.
Well, this beautiful dolly looks like maybe an F&B, Patsy, perhaps. I can't find her exact likeness, though. She's composition, jointed, sleep eyes, painted lashes, I think about 13 inches tall. Her hair looks like it originally had a very wide headband, probably cloth. It's just a bare area there in the wig, but it's not jagged or anything, and it's not like her hair was pulled out. No, it just looks like a blank space. She has painted fingernails. I detangled her hair. It was pretty matted. She's somewhat decomposed, but she's so pretty. What I'm trying hard to find out is, number one, who is she? And number two, how old is she? Thanks for any help.
her eyebrows look repainted to me, so I wouldn't look at that as an indication of the maker. Did you try lifting the wig up in the back to see if she's marked underneath it. Some dolls also marked very faintly at the rim of the head with small lettering. Sometimes the mark is very difficult to see. She looks to be from the mid-1930s to the mid-1940s. After World War II, hard plastic dolls were more common than composition, of course.
Oh, thanks. I lifted her wig at the edges. After that, it's seriously glued on. No markings. I guess she'll remain a mystery.
I'm curious why you think she's an F&B. Is she marked or anything? She's definitely not Patsy or any of the Patsy family dolls. She's been repainted, and the wig is not original from what I can see. If she's not marked, she will be very, very difficult to ID.
Yeah, just because of her general look, her eyes, eyebrows, she's not marked at all. Any idea about the era? I just think she's just precious. There's just something about her.
And that's all that matters in the end.
Indeed.
Okay, that community member has a crush on her doll.
Yeah,
And
totally.
And the doll looks like it was chewed up by a dog and left in the woods to die. But
Which is a very rare brand.
So let's look at the original question. Very, very rare brand.
Yeah.
Let's look at the original question from Melcy H67, who has the ranking of Trailblazer. CLT DocMed has the ranking of Thrill Seeker. He has 103 posts, 6 solutions. He has a grade of 65 under helpful. You can view the profile, and here you can see all of the medals this user has earned on the message boards. High five, good vibes, helping hand, pay it forward. How carefully do you guys look at prospective buyers' profiles before you decide whether or not you're going to interact with them?
You know, I'm turning over so many things
You
that
just keep going?
I just
They
bought
could
it.
not be a helping hand, and you'd still let them purchase
There's
something?
their money. They want it. I'm going to ship it out tomorrow. You know.
There's been so much bad luck with overseas buyers. I and many people I know don't even bother selling anything overseas.
Really?
However, there's
What,
the
like
eBay
Canada or something?
There's the eBay global shipping program that has changed that.
Explain that.
eBay shipping global program. eBay global shipping program. If somebody from Germany buys one of my items, I don't ship it directly to Germany.
So it's like a money laundering of items?
No, what I do
Where did this come from?
that I basically I send it to eBay and then they ship it
Right,
and
but
take
that's like
care
a-
of everything else. Before.
Like a laundering. It's like a middle. It's like you're guaranteed. Like they're gonna handle the risk.
That
They
may
do.
or may not handle the shipping issue, but it doesn't handle the fraudulent payment issue.
Well, the payment clears in PayPal, so everything's good. So I only accept PayPal. That's the other thing.
I could probably go for an hour telling you PayPal horror stories.
Ooh, that's another show. We can do a whole show about
Spin-off.
Yeah.
eBay used to own PayPal. They no longer own PayPal. There's a reason for that.
Is the reason that it was, were they getting up to no good
A
together?
friend of mine was a victim of a major fraud. He had a phone number for the seller. They changed their phone number. We're changing locations. But my camera, my $2,000 camera I'm sending you, is going to a different address, and no one's answering the cell phone. So he contacts PayPal. Stop the sale. It's a fraud. Well, you're going to have to contact eBay about that. No. You got to stop the sale. No. That's an eBay issue. Then eBay doesn't get to it. PayPal doesn't get to it. So he ends up stopping the credit card upon which he made the payment and gets dinged on his credit rather than let them get
Right.
the money because it was a con. But they weren't set up for stopping. It's so biased for the buyer against the seller.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's like it's a pendulum, and it's swung the other way because the buyer would traditionally get dinged or
Right.
ripped off.
It's like they're overly
Yeah, the customer
protecting.
knows best.
All right, I Googled strangest items ever sold on eBay, and here is what I discovered. This website, it comes from, let's see, The Independent in the UK, which is a great publication. So my top picks from this list include, and we can go around the room reading this. You want to start, Jamie, with A Ghost in a Jar?
Yes, a jar that a man believed to contain a ghost was put up for auction on eBay because it was terrorizing its owner. The seller, TJ101, claimed that he would not be held responsible if the black thing escaped the jar, and that all sales are final. After numerous bids, the jar sold for just around $55,000, but the buyer never paid for the item in the end.
So it was like bidding fun, but no one was ever going to actually pay for it. Like,
That's funny.
all right, Danny?
The meaning of life. In 2000, a man from North Carolina discovered the meaning of life and decided to sell it on eBay. Curiously, it was worth only $3.26.
That's a bargain.
26 cents. A grandmother. A 10-year-old girl from England tried to sell her grandmother on eBay, describing the relative as annoying but cuddly. The internet auction site had to take down the offer as it was breaching regulations on human trafficking. Gum chewed by Britney Spears. Okay.
Oh, he gets that one.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you're so lucky.
A woman sold a piece of bubble gum that Britney Spears had chewed and spat out at a concert at Wembley Arena in 2000. The winning bid in the Twilight Zone was $14,000.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wow.
Add space on a forehead, Christian?
That was in the Twilight Zone, totally.
there was something
Bob spilled water again.
As if water wasn't bad enough.
That's another drop call.
Well, at least they dropped the iPad stand and not the entire iPad. So, all right, go ahead.
Andrew Fisher, a web designer from Nebraska, auctioned off the use of his forehead. He said he would have a non-permanent logo or brand name tattooed on his head for 30 days. After several bids, he received $37,375 to advertise the snoring remedy, Snore Stop.
Well, I hope it worked.
They charge by furrow.
Wow.
All right, you got the last one, Jamie.
Yay.
Oh, I do. I get another one. Yay. Oh, it's British again. An 18-year-old British girl sold her virginity on eBay. It was bought by a businessman. Just hung himself. No, it was bought by a businessman who kindly gave her the money she needed for college without taking the service.
The second highest bidder had been Jeffrey Epstein, so
Yes, there we go. You got
lucky
that in there.
twist of fate. All right,
You're
on
just
what
waiting for me. You're waiting for me. That was an ambush.
I heard he was going to be on the show today.
Yeah, he's late. What's Twitter trending?
Who's watching him?
Literally.
What's Twitter trending is, and I don't know if you guys were aware of it, but let's celebrate it. Hashtag Left-Handers Day. Any lefties on the panel? Look to your right, look to your left.
Wouldn't admit it.
All right.
Jamie's daughter is a left-handed.
My girl is. That's why I brought this in.
All right, so we have these tweets. This is from Tanya Hitch.
Finally, someone
Has pointed out the true oppression, left-handed people, and she shows a desk that is clearly designed for right-handed people.
That's
We'll learn
got
how
to
to
be.
work it.
From
You know how to work the system.
BEMC Sweeney, she wrote, literally my whole entire life. And then she tweeted a pie chart, and the pie chart is things people say when you are left-handed, divided into tiny slices of, I have an insert random friend or relative who is left-handed. Left-handers are so creative. How can you write like that? And then the giant portion of the pie is labeled, are you left-handed?
Let's shake on it. No, I'm over here.
And from BET, they tweeted, it's officially hashtag Left-Handers Day. Salute to perhaps the greatest left-hander to ever do it. And it's Barack Obama.
Yes.
Mic dropping with his left hand.
The man.
As only he could do it. I want to thank you to our guests, Christian Skelly, Bob Bastenchury, and Danny Mann. Our producer is Dina Friedman. Our tech team is Lane McFadden and Michael Tellup. Our sound designer is John Maddox. Our webmaster is Bill Filipiak. I am Louise Blanker. We will see you next week. Be safe, be well, be kind.